Hey guys, JP here, and welcome back to another Call of Duty video. Today we're going to be talking about the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2v2 Alpha. So, before we get into anything, just keep this sentiment in mind. They released this mode in what they call an alpha so that they can get feedback, get people's opinions, and see how the game functions when there's a lot of people online. Anything that anybody says after playing it is their opinion. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's good or bad. It is their opinion. And being that they specifically released this in the way they did and made it open, you didn't even have to pre-order it, they're looking for feedback. With that being said, we're going to move into talking about it overall. So I ended up playing the alpha for about 2.5 to 3 hours total over the time it was out. When I hopped on it the first night, I only was able to play about 30 minutes before I was incredibly bored. Then we did a 12-hour stream on that following Sunday, and I think I was able to play for about 2.5 hours, and I was pretty much bored with the mode the whole way through. I was just wanting to test out whatever guns that they had in the rotation, see how they felt, see how they reload, and overall get a feel for the game, because at this point, it's a sample. It's not even much of a game. It was just something they were putting out there to help generate hype, or to help keep COD in the players' minds, being that Black Ops 4 is definitely on its last leg as is. So they wanted to get a little bit more hype for it. But overall, I can see how Modern Warfare, the full game, could actually be fun and would look good with the little bit of elements that we had. In regards specifically to the 2v2 mode, I did not like it. The maps were by far way too small to actually promote any strategic or competitive play. And for the most part, I found every single time when playing, you spawn in, you step to the left or the right, and you fire, and you either die or you get the kill. It was very rarely that anybody actually tried to play with strategy. It was just all about who could fire first. More of like a firing range with multiplayer, in a sense. It didn't feel like I could ever see it being competitive, period. If we're going to go back and compare this to Modern Warfare 3's Face Off, which I think this might be like a kind of direct but indirect successor of Modern Warfare 3's Face Off, I would say that this is a step back, because even the smallest maps in Modern Warfare 3 in the 2v2 mode, which was Getaway, I believe, that map was still plenty big with a whole lot more areas to navigate, and it just made sense, and it actually felt like it worked, whereas these maps that they have released reminds me of World War II's Pit. Maybe at most built for 1v1 for people to settle their disputes. If they randomize the spawns on those tiny maps, I think it would work perfectly for 1v1. But for 2v2, I just do not agree with it. I think they're way too small, and it's not competitive in any sense of the word, in my opinion. I did have some issues throughout my playing. Some guns felt like they weren't registering, or the bullets it felt like it was going through. There was a couple times that I never even got hit markers, even though I got the kill, if that makes any sense. Like I'd get the hit markers required, then it would stop, and I'd have a brief moment, fire another shot, and then the player would just be dead. I wouldn't get what we're used to as of right now is like the red X, at least that I can recall, that you actually got the player. There was no hit marker period, so it kind of threw me off when it went into the kill cam. I'm glad that the normal kill cam is back, because now if you're at the end of a TDM game, you can potentially set up to try to get that final kill cam. Play of the game I've always thought was broken and annoying, and something that I didn't really want to see in the game, so I'm glad. Hopefully it's permanently gone. In regards to some of the maps, it felt like the player models were blending in way too easily. I think it was the Pine, the woods-based map, where a lot of players could just stand normally, and it would be very hard to see them to begin with. So hopefully they will change it up. I know that they've been preaching a lot about realism with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Personally, I think there's a fine line between being realistic fun and being realistic boring. If everybody is treating this as like a war simulator, nobody's going to be moving, and it's just going to be overall boring. Being this was the 2v2 alpha, minimap played no part of this. You immediately saw where people were going, and if you survived that, spawn, sidestep, shoot, yeah, it was kind of obvious. You really didn't need a mini-map. Report supposedly is that in the beta, we're going to actually get ground war in full force. that will be nice, and then they might be able to actually decide if we need the mini-map or not. But from my experience so far, I thought that Infinity Ward putting out this 2v2 alpha, while it is cool to see how the game looks, how the game potentially will function in the long run, I personally thought this was a bad way for them to put it out. I would have preferred your standard 6v6 or 10v10 or the ground war. It does make me happy that the beta is going to have ground war. I just hope that they're going to give us a nice chunk of streaks to actually do. And I see why there's no streaks in gunfights, because it's pointless. Most of those rounds lasted between 5 and 15 seconds. If you manage to get away off the spawn, it would last a little bit longer. The throwing knife they actually had in the alpha, and I've always been a fan of the throwing knife or tomahawk, and it felt good. It felt like it was that Black Ops 1 tomahawk. Now, I don't know if they're going to mess with it, if they're going to maintain the physics of it where the bounce is amazing, or how you can throw it quite the distance. I hope so. I truly hope so, because that was my favorite part of Black Ops 1, especially in Search and Destroy, was spawning, taking a hawk, literally throwing it, say, over Summit and seeing if you can catch somebody off spawn. I know that it might suck for the player on the other side, but at a certain point, almost everybody was trying it on Black Ops 1 Search and Destroy, so my hope is that the throwing knife stays the way it is. Now, I will say, I think the way you got the throwing knife picked back up is you had to hold square. I want them to revert that to where if you run over it, it automatically picks it up. I know the people who only use melee weapons, that would be an easier life for them to just be able to constantly running. I personally don't like picking square. That was one of the better innovations over Call of Duty, where they allowed you just to pick it up by running over it. So I hope they can do that. I don't know. I also had a problem with a lot of people leaving the game. I found a lot of my matches in 2v2 people, I guess they were trying to maybe try out maps, or they didn't like the gun setup, they would just immediately back out. So I found myself, if I was down, just immediately backing out, because there's definitely no way in hell. I mean, if you camp, you might be able to pull it off, but at that point, if the players running together, they're just going to kill trade. You take out one, the other takes out you. It is kind of difficult to pull it off. The snipers felt fair, I would like to say, for the time being. If you hit your shot, most of the time, tits up, it would be a one-hit kill, and it didn't feel like the ADS was too crazy. Now, we don't have quick draw, so we weren't able to actually test out one of those longer speeds. Now, I will say this, for a game that in their advertisements and teasers that were preaching a lot about customization and being able to modify your gun with like up to 40 attachments and doing this and that, that was another thing that irritated me about the alpha, is that they preached all this customization, and then we essentially had nothing. We just had preset classes that were on rotation. Some of them cool to use. Like, I've already found the AR that I most likely will be rocking throughout the game, unless there's something better, because I'm always a go-to, and I think it was like an M4 variant that I was messing with. Felt really solid, so I'll probably fall back on that. That makes me happy. I'm always, every FPS game I play, I like to have an M4A1 and a UMP. If they have those two guns, I'm happy. And it looks like Modern Warfare should. So overall, I'll be ready for that when it comes to the game. But I don't know. After playing, like I said, I only played just under 3 hours total for the alpha. I wasn't impressed at all. I saw some people who were impressed, and I saw some people who just could not be bothered to play it to begin with, just because a lot of people do like that chaos. They do like being able to go into a mode with a lot of players and have that controlled chaos, if it makes sense, where you're always taking on people moving. And with it being gunfight, essentially it's just S&D without the bomb, unless both teams hid. Then you have to chase the flag in the center, and it just wasn't fun. I do not see, personally, myself playing any gunfight or 2v2s once the game is released. I will be sitting at bare minimum 6v6. Otherwise, my goal will be to play Ground War as much as possible. With World War II and Black Ops 4, we didn't get Ground War in World War II until we fought for it, and in Black Ops 4 Trek pretty much just told us to suck it. We're not getting Ground War. And they removed it out of Black Ops 3. I don't know if they put it back in. I think maybe at one point they did. But I've always been a fan of Ground War. I've always loved Ground War Domination or Ground War Kill Confirmed. So it makes me happy that not only are they going to do like 10v10 normal Ground War, but they might even try to go up to 50v50. That's what I look forward to with Call of Duty, quote-unquote, innovating. I just hope that it's more like COD than Battlefield, because I don't want the maps to be too big and over the top and stuff like that, and I want it to still feel like Call of Duty. I guess I could say, in a sense, maybe like imagine 4 Call of Duty maps put together with the amount of players playing on one, so it still plays like a normal match, if that makes any sense. That's what I look forward to, because I just imagine going in there with an AC-130, a chopper gunner, and just going nuts and having a buttload of fun. Now, I can see me, if they go to level 1000, personally grinding the hell out of it because of this ground war. I just hope that it feels more COD-like than Battlefield. So that's my overall opinion so far. I'm not going to hate on the full game. This was just a taste. I'm treating it as a visual to see how it looks, how the mechanics might play, but fun factor wasn't there. It was rather boring. I would like to know what you think down in the comment section below, because I know I had some people jump on me when I said that it was boring on Twitter and that it was equivalent to a Walmart demo. That wasn't meant to be an insult, by the way, when I say that the Modern Warfare Alpha, to me, resembled a Walmart demo, because I remember a lot as a kid. Every time I got drugged to Walmart by my mom, I would immediately go back to the Electronics Center and play the demo. And I think I actually remember playing a Call of Duty demo. My point was the amount of content there reminded me of a demo, and not that it was a bad game overall. So that's why I said that, and I still stick to it. There was just not enough content to be worth anything. So did the alpha impress you? Did it disappoint you? Or do you just not care at this point and you just want to see what the game looks like when it drops? Hit that subscribe button if you're new, drop a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.